Hello, welcome to Robots Should Be a Good Thing. Why aren't they? Ignore how I look. I look kind of disgusting, and I don't have anything written for this one, so we're just gonna be going off rip here, but welcome. Um, Today I want to talk about how the growth in technology has not really aligned with the growth of like the public's general well-being and like general like quality of life. Because if you think about it, in the past, let's say like 200 years, yeah, if you look at that big of a time period, we have made so many technological advancements in that time period. It's actually insane to think about. Like I was looking at some graphs. It's like teetering, 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 pff, like straight up like that. And I was looking at graphs about like some general qualities of life too. And they've been going up in the past 200 years. It's good. Like our quality of life is so much better now compared to like the little like no electricity like pilgrims that were like dying in their 30s back in the like 17 1800s and before that. But if you start to like grow the scale smaller for like the time period that you're looking at, and you look at the past like 20 to like 40 or 50 years, you're gonna see that our technological advancements in the past like 50 years have grown like astronomically. Like I don't even know how to explain. Like it's still it's still a crazy spike. I don't think it's as intense as going from like the printing press to like ChatGPT, but going from the first computers that would take up an entire room to AI systems is still an insane difference and still an insane thing to think about because the computers that they had back in like the 70s and the 80s, they would take up an entire room, and today the computers that take up entire rooms are quantum computers, which are like an entirely different realm that I'm not too educated about. I just know that it's like insane. Um, so the growth has still been there. But if you look at like the general quality of life of the people, and you don't, I wouldn't say to look at like the political aspects here for once in my life, because it's like obviously in the past like 50 years we have had so many big, like such important movements and such like new levels that we've reached with like acceptance and feeling safe. But we're talking more generally here about like how these technological advancements should be improving humans' everyday lives when they're not doing that to their full potential. So in the 80s, there was a steady job market, a pretty steady economy in the grand scheme of things. And there's a lot of similarities to today. We didn't have the technology, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have computers in every house, we didn't have the flat screen TVs, we didn't have the laptops that we have. But it's like workforce wise, job wise, pretty much like a lot of the same jobs that we have today. As we've continued over time, sure, we've obviously created more jobs that have to do with the new technology that we've created and that have to do with the growing population. But with the way that technology has advanced, some of these jobs that we have should not be necessary. Like, we have the technology to completely take over some of these jobs, like warehouse jobs, a lot of manufacturing jobs. And I was looking at another chart, and manufacturing jobs still take up quite a large chunk of the total, like of all the jobs that are like around today. And it's something that feels like it should be taken over by like robots or something because we have such efficient machinery and such crazy robots that we've created that can just do the things that we want. Like with a lot of these jobs, you don't need the like pinpoint like fingertips like things that only humans can do. These are things that can be automated, and realistically, in my opinion, I think that they should be. But because of the world that we live in, they're purposefully not being taken over by technology. And people don't want their jobs to be taken over by technology. And I think that that's a fair thing because in the society that we live in the economic system that we live in, everybody needs a job. Most people need multiple jobs just to get by. And so they're scared of advancements coming and taking over. When realistically, these advancements should be helping the people. They should be things that we want to keep coming and keep improving upon, because as society grows and as our technology increases in a system that isn't corrupt, we would want less and less people to need jobs. We would want less and less jobs need to be done by humans so that humans can focus on doing other things that they enjoy. And like a lot of people enjoy their jobs, but like these are things that if we allowed technology to take over, I believe that it would increase the quality of life. But I'm not blaming people who don't support this technology, and I'm not blaming the people who need these jobs and are scared of losing their jobs because they need them to get by. I'm not blaming them at all. I think they're victims of the society that we live in because it's so corrupt. We shouldn't be scared of advancing technologically. We shouldn't be scared of losing our source of money and stability in life. We shouldn't be scared of losing our lives to technology, but if we lose our job, that's what we're losing. And even with things like I don't support AI. I don't think that's a good thing. I will always support human thoughts over the thoughts of technology because technology shouldn't be having thoughts. But there are jobs that if we weren't living in a crisis where everybody needs a job and the job market is terrible and everyone's scared of not being able to survive because they don't have a job, if people were just focused on if not even just people, if the system was focused on bettering the people's lives, then we would have AI take over these jobs and it would be a good thing. And we would have technology take over those other jobs and that would be a good thing, but it's not. And that's not speaking to ignorance or to stubbornness from humans, that's speaking to the corruption of the society. Because there's no way that we should be living and being scared of the advancements that we're making. I just think it's ridiculous. I think that we've improved so much technologically as a society, and I think that it's messed up that our quality of life hasn't been improving with that. Because, like I was saying earlier, our quality of life now compared to the 80s, it might be different. Like, it might be better. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't look at enough information to say that, like, with my chest, with full confidence. However, I can say that it definitely doesn't line up with the technological growth that we've had since the 80s. I just think that that's crazy, and I think it's scary. I think it's not a good thing, and it's disappointing how this corruption has kept us from being able to fulfill our other goals, our goals that don't have to do with work. Because at the end of the day, and I can make a whole other thing about this, we've been trained to dream of working our entire lives. We've been trained to dream of working, and the upper class has been trained to dream of not working, and to have other people working for them, when it shouldn't be people working for them, it should be the robots, if anything. Because the people should be dreaming of exploring and adventuring and just living their life to the fullest. They shouldn't be dreaming of having the most money, because the most money is just another way to say the most power. But you aren't taught to want the most power in your society, because you can't have that, because everyone's free and equal. Instead you're taught to want the most money, because money is what makes you happy in this society, when it shouldn't be that way. And I really wish that it wasn't that way. And I really wish that as a society we had what we deserved, because we deserve the things that we worked for, and the things that we worked for is the technological advancements that we have made. The upper class didn't make those. It's the working class, and they deserve the fruits of their labor, but they're just not getting it. So I hope I stuck to like a basic point in this one. I know I was starting off into space for the whole thing, but yeah. Thank you for listening.